So grab whatever your lighter set is. Feel for that triple S, so the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum on the ground. You can start with your weights just across your hips, and we're going to press into the feet. Use the glutes to lift into low bridge, low enough that your shoulder blades are still on the ground, and then lower down. Press into the feet, hug the block, lift the hips, low bridge, and lower down. So we're just waking up the glutes with a little bit of extra load or extra weight across the hips, keeping that pelvis neutral. So as you lift up, think about the pubic bone zippering up to the belly and those two pelvic points drawing in toward each other. The next time we come to that low bridge, we're going to stay there, draw the pelvic points in, grab your weights, and reach your arms up toward the ceiling. We're going to hold the ribs steady. So keep zippering the pubic bone to the belly. Bend your right arm like we're trying to pull the weight toward the shoulder, bending at the elbow. And then reach the arm up. Hold the pelvis steady. Bend the left elbow. Extend it back up. So any pace, doesn't matter how far we're bending. We're trying to hold everything else still as we start to work the triceps a little bit more. Keep pressing into the feet. Stay active in the lower body. Gently hugging your block. All right, you can set your weights back across the hips and then slowly lower down. Put those weights aside. We're going to roll to our left side for forearm side bridge. Block can stay between the knees or thighs. We've got lots of options here. We want the left shoulder really strong, not rolling in. Zippering the pubic bone to the belly. We can absolutely do this with no weights. You can even have right fingers on the ground as you exhale. Hug the block, lift any amount, land with control. Hug the block, exhale, lift or hover off that bottom hip, and then land. You don't need fingers. You don't have to use fingers on the ground. And if you would like to add more load for that bottom hip, you're going to grab whatever amount of weight you'd like to use across that top hip. Exhale, hug the block and lift. Land with control. Moving with the breath. Whatever variation feels strong today, moving with the breath, keeping that neutral pelvis. All right, put that weight down and we'll switch to the right side. You can just roll over to your right side, block between knees or thighs again. Set up with the right shoulder really stable, not rolling in toward the chest, zippering the pubic bone up. You can start with fingers as you exhale and lift. You can have the left hand off the ground. You can use that added weight, any amount that feels strong and stable. We're working that whole right side from the shoulder to the hip. Couple more. All right, you can put your weight down. We're going to head into a kneeling position. If kneeling is not great on your knees or any part of your body, we're going to have the option to sit in a chair. I'll show it kneeling first. Toes tucked or untucked. Maybe it's your lighter or medium weights. We're going to do some upper body. So we start with elbows bent right in front of the face. You're going to exhale, open the arms out like a goalpost or a cactus without the back arching in any way. So we keep zippering pubic bone to the belly, keeping the ribs stacked over the pelvis. So our first option is just kneeling, holding still as we open the arm. Second option, rise up into a tall or high kneel. and then come back down. Toes could be tucked or untucked, totally up to you. Keep that neutral pelvis, so keep zippering the pubic bone up. If you're in a chair, your first option is to sit. You can always have your block or your ball between the knees. Open up here, or rise up. Sit to stand as a chair alternative instead of kneeling to high kneel. One more, and then we're gonna come to quadruped. All right, put your weights down, come to hands and knees, and we'll cat-cow. Just mobilizing the spine a little bit. All right, we're heading into our 90-90. Step your right foot forward. Left knee can always land on a block for a little cushion, and then I'll show a chair option as well. Make sure we've zippered the pubic bone up to the belly and our rib cage is stacked right on top. Again, maybe it's your lighter or medium weight. We're gonna grab it with our left hand. I love having my right hand on the front rib so that we don't move the rib cage as we move the shoulder. So we're gonna have left arm up, weight at shoulder height. Little press here. Reach the arm up, shoulder flexion, and then bring it back down with control. Reach the arm up. It does not have to be all the way up overhead, especially if that's going to cause the spine and the ribs to change. So hold that feeling. We're zippering the pubic bone up to the belly button as we work that left shoulder. Active in the left glute so that we're feeling a stretch at the front of the left hip as well. Breathe however you need to breathe. All right, put your weight down. We're gonna head back to quadruped. Working more of the core, we've got our quadruped to plank that we're gonna do and hold that for quite a while. So we're gonna work that whole functional core, glutes to shoulders. In quadruped, picture a broom touching the back of your skull, your shoulder blades, and then your sacrum, which is the back of the pelvis. So we wanna hold nice and steady as we step the right foot back, and then the left foot back. We're in plank with that feeling of a broom still behind us. Slide the right knee in, back to quadruped, and then the left knee in. Hold your invisible broom there. Right foot back, left foot back, right knee in, left knee in. So you're going to keep going. You don't have to go quite that slow, but we do want to move really mindfully, trying not to arch or round the back between that transition. You can also be elevated on your chair or your counter. You're going to find your elevated plank, broom behind you. Slowly pull one thigh in without tucking the tailbone under or rounding the back. So very similar action here. Just a little bit more elevated so we can be off the knees. So again, find your version that feels strong and stable, not holding your breath. All right, for a moment, you can sit it back into a child's pose. Think about breathing into the entire rib cage, front, side, and back. All right, other side, that active 90-90. We step the left foot forward. Right knee can always land on a block for a little bit more cushion. Your light to medium weight is going to be in the right hand. So right shoulder flexion, left hand can always come to the front ribs. We start with the shoulder, or the weight at shoulder height. Reach the arm up without popping the ribs forward or sticking that tailbone out. So hold your neutral stack, ribs over pelvis. Reach the arm up. Keep zippering the pubic bone to the belly, drawing those two pelvic points in like you're cinching up your waistband. Keep breathing. Right glute is firm or active so that we're stretching the right hip flexor, the front of that right hip. All right, we're going to bring it down, come to quadruped. We'll move to our push-up options. I love a block between knees or thighs so that we get that extra hug, that extra inner thigh and pelvic floor engagement. You can be in quadruped. Broom behind your back. Bend the elbows straight back. Keep the chest open, which means we're not rounding the shoulders or diving forward. Chest stays open as we bend the elbows back. Push into the fingers and the knuckles to straighten. So focusing on the triceps if you're here in quadruped. Of course, you can slide the knees back. Plank with knees down, chest stays open. Bend the elbows back. Hug on the way up. So I love syncing it with the breath here. Inhale. Exhale, hug the block. Press into the fingers, press back up. You could, of course, have knees off the ground. Same thing, we want to hold that feeling of a broom taped behind our back. You can elevate this on your counter or your chair, with or without the block, any height you want to elevate yourself. Bend the elbows back. Keep the chest open. All right, take the block out. We'll head to a down dog. Knees nice and soft, hips are high, head is in front of the arms so that we're not sinking the chest down. Really stable in the shoulders. You can either pedal the feet out if you want to start stretching the lower body, or you can shrug the shoulders here, gliding the shoulder blades up and down. See if you can slow the breath down. All right, let's walk it back, hands back toward the feet into happy squat. Land the heels so that we're pressing into the whole feet, belly to the thighs by bending the knees, and you're gonna push the ground away. So the glutes and the hips are getting us up to stand. We're gonna grab maybe our heavier option as we move on to our carry. So we're gonna hold something in just the right hand. So whatever amount of weight you'd like to use, and we'll start at the back of the mat. You can walk forward and back. You can slow march, really focusing on hip flexion. Whatever we're doing, we're thinking about neutral spine, ribs stack over pelvis, as we either just walk forward and back or slow hip flexion march, really intentional. That is going to be more challenging because we're turning that into a single leg balance for a moment. So as we carry something in this one hand, we're trying to avoid leaning toward the weight. So both sides are working in a different way. We're trying not to lean toward the weight as we walk or march. We're trying not to lean away from it. So can we keep that pelvis neutral, that stack of the ribs, as we challenge just the right side? All right, last time you're gonna walk forward and then you can keep your heavier weight or switch to your medium weight. We're moving on to hip hinges. So you can have one heavier weight in your hands. You can have two lighter weights in front of you. Whatever you have available, we're gonna challenge the back body. So glutes and hamstrings as we hinge. Inhale like there's a broom behind you and you're trying to tap your butt to a wall behind you. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, broom behind us. We're trying to tap our butt to a wall behind us. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise up. Any pace. Let's move with the breath. Exhale on the way up. Good. So use your amount of weight that you can continue feeling like there's a broom taped behind your back. Long spine. Really press into the feet. Couple more. Really think butt back. All right, grab your weight for our carry with the left hand. So we're going to do the same thing, either walking or marching, forward and back, any pace. We're thinking about our spine staying upright. So if we had that broom behind us, could we still manage to walk forward or march forward and back without leaning, arching, rounding, but holding that neutral? One side will probably feel more challenging, especially if you're using one of your heavier weights. Just a couple moments longer of walking or marching, holding something in that left hand. Okay, when you get to the front, you can put that weight down. We're going to move to our reverse lunge. So if you find this challenging enough with no weights, you don't need to hold weights. We'll have a couple options. I'm going to grab one weight and hold it in front of my chest. So for me, that's going to be one of my heavier weights. For you, you might want to use one of your medium weights. So we're just going to hold it right in front of the chest. Zipper that pubic bone up. So again, we want to think there's a broom behind us so that when we step back into our lunge, we're not arching or tucking, but neutral. And then we push off, step together. Other foot steps back. Start small so we can really zipper the pubic bone up and then push off. So start this reverse lunge, any pace, holding that added weight. Really push the ground away. Push. If you would like to add a little more challenge with your weight, you're going to push off, step together, reach the weight up. Push off, step together, reach your weight up. Remember, the angle doesn't matter. We don't want to arch the back. So hold your stack as you reach the weight up if you're adding that option. Make sure you're still breathing, pushing off the back foot. All right, you can put your weight down. Our next option, we're going to work some of those pulling and upper back muscles, lighter to medium weights, whatever you'd prefer. And we can be seated or standing. If you're seated, you can use that block between your knees, your thighs. Same thing if you're standing. Arms in front, hold your stack, ribs over pelvis. Open the arms out. Open the arms out without arching. So hold your stack. Maybe the movement is smaller. You could also be standing. You could be standing and hinging. So these are all just different alternatives for working those upper back muscles. Neutral pelvis, drawing those two pelvic points in. Keep breathing. All right, you can put those weights down, put your block down if you were using it. Our next movement is going to be a step out squat. So we're going to do one side at a time, right, then left. You have the option to have your light or your medium weight in your right hand. So we're going to step out to the right first, and we'll step out into a squat. So for a squat, we're still a little bit upright, but we're thinking hips down instead of hips back like a hinge. So hips a little bit lower, and then step together. Step out to the right, hips down, and then push off. Step out, squat, push off. Okay, next option, step out, squat, push off, shoulder flexion, overhead reach without that thrusting the ribs. So hold your stack, ribs over pelvis. Remember, you're using any amount of weight that feels supportive today. Working that same push off, lower body strength. All right, let's switch sides. Start with the weight, but not the shoulder flexion. So let's get that movement first. Squat, step out to the left. Squat, push off. Step out, hips low or hips down. Zipper the pubic bone up. Maybe we add that shoulder flexion or that overhead reach. If you notice you're arching the back a lot, you can always bring right hand to the front of the ribs and make sure that we don't splay here. Try to land lightly in that squat and then push off. All right, you can put those weights down or that weight down. Moving on to some calf strengthening. We're going to press into the big toes and lift the heels. Heel lifts. You can do this with no weights. You can have weights. If you're holding weights, maybe we're just adding that extra load. Lifting and lowering. Or you can add an alternating bicep curl. Keep that stack, ribs over pelvis. Work on that landing of the heels with control. Nice and quiet. Keep breathing. Push into the big toes. All right, you can put your weights down. Our last standing movement, side lunges. Of course, no weights, any weights. Light weights in each hand, one heavier weight, feet are parallel, broom behind us. We're going to alternate those side lunges. Again, we want to think broom behind us, wall behind us. So we're really thinking, I'm trying to tap my butt to a wall behind me and keep that feeling of a broom behind my back. So common things that happen would be arching, letting the ribs splay, the tailbone lift, or really tucking and rounding with that extra weight. So we're even working the core extra by adding that extra weight to hold the spine in that neutral. Couple more. Press into the feet. All right, you can put your weights down. We're gonna head back to hands and knees, back to quadruped, and you can cat-cow or belly roll. Slowing the breath down. Let's do a couple things for the hips while we're here. We're going to start with the knees where they are in quadruped, but the feet out wider. So we're in hip internal rotation. And we'll take a couple rock backs here. Any amount. Try not to overly tuck the tailbone. We're trying to stay pretty neutral in the pelvis, long in the low back, as we rock back into this hip internal rotation. Now bring the feet back to where they were, that neutral quadruped. Cross the left knee behind the right leg. So we're in this cross knee position. And we're going to try to rock back here. It's going to be probably a pretty small movement or small range of motion. Getting some length and stretch right at the back of that left hip joint. Let's uncross. Right knee crosses behind the left into that cross knee quadruped. Rock back. Try not to tuck the tailbone under. And just ease into it. We're not expecting a lot of movement here. Make sure you're not holding your breath or tensing your jaw. All right, we'll uncross, coming into a wide arm position in our quadruped. So you'll turn your fingers out to the side, arms as wide as it feels good as we start to dip one shoulder down, turning the ribs. And then dip the other shoulder down, turning the ribs. So we're getting a little bit of that thoracic rotation. We're stretching through the front of the chest and shoulder. We always want to stay within a pain-free range, something that we can control, entering and exiting the stretch. All right, you can either end on your back or in a seated position. Wherever you are, let's think about that neutral spine. So that stack of ribs over pelvis. If you're on the ground, that's going to be feeling the back of the skull on the ground, the shoulder blades and the sacrum. Let the eyes close. Soften your forehead. Relax your jaw. Stay here for a few more deep breaths like this, or you're welcome to bring your fingers towards your ears for that vagus nerve rub, just gently gliding the fingers up and down from the ear toward the jaw, helping us enter that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest. And as we finish up here, take a moment to thank yourself for your practice today. Sending one grateful thought out into the universe.